Alright, I'm finally getting to talk about Boruto after so long. And you know, that is why my channel is named No Tail Ninja, because I was a big Naruto fan, and now I get to finally talk about Boruto. Because to be honest, before, I didn't have a lot to say about Boruto, because it was kind of but now it's finally starting to get good in my opinion. And I'm not gonna lie, I was planning to give you guys a Boruto video sooner. I wanted to review the last chapter, but my hard drive had issues, and it kind of lost the data, and then I just kind of lost the drive to actually finish it. So I'm gonna kind of like mesh the last chapter together with this one, so forgive me if it's a little bit redundant. But before I get started, make sure to like and subscribe if you guys like anime content. As you see, I typically do My Hero, but I'm trying to branch into other animes. I just finished Jujutsu Kaisen and I also finished Blue Lock, so maybe I might talk about it, maybe I might not. You have to subscribe to find out. But anyway, let's get to it. So a quick recap for everything that's happened in the last 4 chapters, because I want to just kind of set the scene. So at the start of Two Blue Vortex, we're coming into a 3-year time skip. The Leaf Village seems like it was left out of options for Hokage, so they just picked a name out of a hat, and boom, we got Shikamaru. Sarada for some reason bought a jacket 3 sizes too big because it keeps hanging off her goddamn shoulder. So annoying to look at. And we got the Walmart version of the characters we know and love that just sort of sit there and do things. They play cards. They're really not super important to the manga. It's kind of sad, actually. They seemingly lived in peace for the last 3 years until the Trash Can Ninja appeared. I mean Code. I mean Dracula. No, I think I said it right the first time. Trash. Who came with his army of knockoff Friezas, who apparently are biting people and turning them to trees. That's a development that's happening. And all hope seemed lost until Boruto appeared, who looks like the only person to have actually aged in this time skip, and dropped him size 10 Tims right on Code's face. And right as Code thought he could talk brazy to Boruto, he hit him with the meanest Ruffy Rasengan I think I've ever seen, and left this man shook. He tries to land a hit on Boruto, but that man is moving like he got 400 ping. And Code is shook. He is literally looking like he spent the night at Bill Cosby's house. He is boozy, he is slipping all over the place, he cannot stand up. And just as Boruto looks like he's about to end that man's whole career, the biggest hater of all time pulls up on him and tries to clown my man Boruto, saying he looked like a Walmart Sasuke. And I'm like, really? He looked like a Walmart Sasuke. Bro, yo logo looked like a knockoff Uchiha logo. Don't get started with that. But while Kawaki was busy hating, Code slipped away. And then we come to find out Boruto had a frog that was tracking him the whole time. So now he is on his ass and seen. Yeah, that whole like recap, I feel like I sound like a boxer announcement. But back to my regular voice now. So we come back to that cave that Code was keeping the Ten Tails in. And my god, bro, what is he doing with that Ten Tails? You got it tied up looking real suspicious. And Boruto did say a couple chapters ago, the man's Code gets no maiden. So you'd let your imaginations run wild on that one. But Code is thinking about the stuff that Boruto said to him earlier, about referring to the Ten Tails, and he thinks that how dangerous could these guys be because their only purpose is to devour, which adds to my point of what I've recently just said about him being down bad. As we come back to that scene with Kawaki and Boruto, as Kawaki's getting ready to put Boruto on a t-shirt, but the frog is reminding Boruto that it's time he has to go. So we see him prepare to use the technique, but he mentions that it's not as good as his grandpa's. And you wonder what that technique could be? And you guessed it, it is the Flying Raijin, or also known I think as the Flying Thunder God. As he leaves Kawaki on red as he teleports immediately to Code, which that leaves me a lot of questions about Flying Raijin, because I was positive before it couldn't transfer dimensions, which they never expressly said it couldn't, but I never said it could, so that, I don't know, maybe it can. Anyway, he pulls up on Code, who's looking hella shook right now, because man's just got hit with that Molly all up in champagne, he didn't even know it, and he's not ready for whatever this is. Which that's the last joke I gotta make about that before I end up getting in trouble on YouTube. But you know the gist, the Rasengan is weird. Anyway, Boruto comes looking for the Ten Tails, which is moved already, and we just saw in the last scene that it was there, so whatever happened quickly, because the frog is even questioning that it's highly unlikely Code moved it, and he had no suspicious movements while he was there, and nor could he move it in his current state. And while they're looking for the Ten Tails, we do see this creature kind of approach in the background a little bit, but it's kind of obscure what it is. But we do get a close-up of it in the next shot. And it appears to be like a fusion of both a claw mark as well as Code's buddy that he had in that dimension thing, that Code actually does end up calling out to because he says Bug, which I guess that was that guy's name? I really didn't remember that. But we see that the actual Bug is actually fused to one of those chakra trees that we saw a few chapters ago. And Boruto asks Kawaki, by Bug, are you referring to that guy who's become a tree behind us? Because that Bug, that creature in front of us, has now become a divine tree. As Code begins to question Boruto what is he talking about, but the bug tree thing has gone on the attack already. He manages to quickly pin Boruto to the ground as he questions him, have you come to offer yourself to be devoured, Otsutsuki Boruto? But before this man could gobble him up, he activates his lightning release and sends him flying away a little bit. But he does come back on the offensive with a hand-mouth thing, which, Code, what have you been doing behind closed doors? And he tries to swallow Boruto whole, which, pause. But I believe he uses the flying Rajan again. He doesn't say it here, but he quickly teleports away. And Code is quite perplexed of what's happening right now, and someone get this man a life alert bracelet or whatever they use because he's fallen and he can't get up. But it seems that Boruto then puts his hand on his chest and relieves the Uzuhiko effects that he's been feeling. Because I'm not sure if he could sense what I'm sensing, but there's a jump in around the corner. So he tells Code to prepare to attack because he doesn't really have time to explain what's going on, so he needs as many arms as he can to help him in his battle. And Code, I guess being deaf, immediately starts asking questions, like, what's happened to the Ten Tails? Is this related to Bug getting devoured and becoming a tree? And Boruto tells him that no, it's not just Bug, but others are involved, everyone who's been bitten and turned into a tree, essentially. As what it appears to be the leader of the new chakra trees, that sounds cool, chakra trees. He appears in the middle of the air and tells everyone, life on the planet, both current as well as past and long dead. We divine trees exist to suck the chakra out of all living things and form chakra fruit. Which brings me to my point again. Code, what have you been doing with them damn trees? Anyway, he says that was actually their original purpose, and now they have a new driven instinct. Because apparently thanks to Code's dumbass, that they have now not only evolved, but they have now gained self-awareness. As a third of the divine tree creatures seem to pop out, and it seems to be talking directly to Code, and it says, poor Code, it seems to be inescapable fate. To be a clown who ends up being used by someone else. It's almost laughable, which... somebody had to say it, man's is trash, confirmed. And also gotta mention that it seems like this divine tree creature kind of looks a lot like Delta. So it appears that she must have potentially gotten bitten in the past, which I guess created this version of herself. So I guess that's off the Konoha board for powerful ninjas. Or wait, actually looking at the hair, she might also potentially be one of Konohamaru's friends from his original team. But we could discuss that at some later time. But what it looks like is the frog that Boruto brought with him is starting to get a little nervous because I know a jumping setup when I see one. Man in the background over here walking real slow, pacing back and forth while someone else is talking and distracting to him. That is a classic jump setup.
Notice how he's pacing back and forth with his hands behind his back. He's obviously waiting for any moment to jump in and knock your ass out.
As Boruto does eventually see the person that he's looking at, and he makes eye contact with the figure, but he doesn't look back at him, and he does look oddly familiar. And we come to find out who that is at the end of the chapter. But before we get to the bottom of that, we cut back to Shikamaru and Kawaki, who are having a rundown on everything that's happened so far. And Shikamaru says to Kawaki, "You suddenly vanished somewhere? Does this mean that he's mastered the space-time ninjutsu?" Kawaki responds, "I have no clue how he did it, but Boruto's vanished after Code fled as if he were chasing him." And Shikamaru ponders that was Code the only reason why Boruto came to Konoha that day. And Kawaki starts to think that there's possibly a chance that they actually could be working together, because before Code disappeared, Boruto seemed to be talking to someone and then he immediately disappeared. So he's wondering if they potentially have an inside mold, because he's wondering if it could be potentially a sensory ninja of some sort. But Shikamaru is certain that that can't be the case because all sensory ninjas' memories are monitored, so if it was, he would know immediately. And Sarada chimes in, and possibly the worst time when they're talking about a mold, to say that actually Code just attacked and Boruto drove him away. That is obvious from their conversation. Please ask Ada to confirm it. And Kawaki, with his full-on hate boner for Otsutsuki's, is saying that no matter what, Boruto essentially still needs to be killed because he's an Otsutsuki, and Otsutsuki are the enemies. Enemies must be killed. And Sakura does come back with the mean clapback like, "Aren't you another Otsutsuki?" And Kawaki's like, I guess he's giving his spiel again. He's like, "No, I'm an Otsutsuki killing Otsutsuki. There's a difference. I only exist to kill other Otsutsuki." I'm like, yeah. Okay. And he mentions that once he's done killing all the other Otsutsukis, he's probably going to just self-delete himself, but until then, he's just going to do whatever it takes. And Sarada, who's not trying to hear that, she's like, "And I won't repeat myself. I won't let you have your way with Konoha. As a shinobi, I aim to be the Hokage." Which, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little less annoying when she says it versus what Naruto and the OG said it. And Shikamaru, who's finally decided to grow a pair of balls and actually do his Hokage job, is like, "Yo, listen, you about to piss me off, who was the current Hokage." So he starts to ask them about the tree people and what are the damages and everything that's involved with that. And Sarada confirms that the entrapped victims appear to still be alive, but there might potentially be a way to save them. But based on what I overheard, and her impression is that Boruto knows something, and that's why he's chasing after Code. And seeing that Boruto has a hostile relationship with Code and he's currently chasing after Code, she's wondering if Konoha should collaborate with Boruto and chase after Code together. As we come back to that fight between Boruto and the chakra trees, I'm never going to get tired of saying that. But Code becomes aware that he might have goofed up because self-awareness was not part of his plan. The frog that's in Boruto's jacket is kind of like, yo, this surprise attack failed, let's just bounce out of here because this is clearly about to not end well for us.
Got your ass with the setup. Now his friend is snuck up behind you and he's about to steal your ass like third base at a baseball game.
As I predicted, the man walking around the background came for the sneak attack because that is the classic jump setup. But we do get a quick zoom in and we see that he actually has the face of Sasuke. Which, honestly, this was kind of a lackluster panel, I'm not gonna lie. This is a really, cheesy way to reveal this. As he comes in for the attack on Boruto, and he uses his own lightning release as Boruto clashes it with his own Rasengan. Now, I'm not sure if this is just his regular Rasengan or his Uzuhiku Rasengan, because we do see it kind of swirling around him a little bit. As I predicted, the jumping has commenced now. Everyone is going full force on Boruto. As he finally looks at Code and he's like, yo man, you about to help me, motherfucker? I just freed you. And Code, being the hoe he is like, yo, this was the perfect time to deuce up out of here. As he says to Boruto, yo, this is an unforeseen development, but it works for me. So this is a load off my shoulders for the most part. Which, I can't blame him, bro. He had you looking real dumb. I'm not about to save the guy that had me looking like that. As the frog that's in Boruto's pocket is now screaming at him, yo, we need to get up out of here. If you die, this is for nothing. And Boruto kind of finally comes to the realization as he makes eye contact with what seems to be the leader of their crew. As I guess he activates the Flying Rasen one more time and deuces up out of there. As the leader of their crew says, you're lucky, Otsutsuki Boruto. Our self-awareness having just awakened, our flaring curiosity thirst for knowledge, and are still surpassing our own instinctual drive to devour. Which I forgot to mention this earlier, but with this close-up, he kind of does look like Jigen. And I've also forgot to mention that they all have Renegons in their eye. Whether or not they could actually use it is yet to be determined, but they have them at least. As the leader continues his monologue by saying, so run where you will, but no matter where you go, you'll never escape your destiny. As we see a tree that Boruto's sitting by, and we see that he's approached by a cloaked figure who comes up to him and asks him if he's trying to destroy the planet. And don't ever be that rash again. And Boruto's just like, sorry, I panicked. As we see that figure is actually Kashin Koji, who I'm guessing trained Boruto during this time, which I guess we all predicted for the most part. And during that time, we actually also get a reveal of why Boruto's jocked Sasuke's whole drip. Because we see that he has been turned into a tree as we end this chapter with Boruto saying, sorry, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, Sasuke. And I'm not gonna lie, this was a very good chapter. Finally, Boruto is starting to pick up the pace a little bit, because the last two chapters, I'm not gonna lie, were not really doing it for me. But before I get into my overall thoughts on Boruto, I would just want to give this a 7 out of 10. I do think this is definitely a step in the right direction, but there's still some other plot contrivances and things that set up. And for the most part, not a lot happened in this chapter. It was a quick couple tussles, but nothing really crazy happened that would make me want to give it anything higher than a 7. But as for my thoughts on Boruto itself and Two Blue Vortex, I think it's off to a solid start. As I mentioned before, which I think I have to correct myself, the first two chapters were not that great because the pacing is still kind of slow. For this to be a once-a-month manga, it kind of sucks to we took us forever just to get to this part, which we should have gotten to in 2 chapters, to be honest. And this is definitely, as I said, a step in the right direction. I don't think that this is enough for people who are Boruto haters to switch, because I constantly see people saying that online, oh, if you hate Boruto now, then, you're just a hater. It's nah, it's just an okay series. I love Naruto to death, but I can acknowledge that Boruto is just okay. And I do see some potential for them to take the story in a better direction, and I think that Shippuden did, because in the first chapters, they didn't really give any character development to Shikadai and their crew for the most part, because we're just under the presumption that they're just carbon copies of their parents, and they don't really get any screen time in the manga, and they don't really have actually any real character development. So I'm kind of hoping that where Shippuden fell short, which was developing the characters that we liked before, that Two Blue Vortex actually gets to develop them and make them characters of their own, and maybe we even get to follow their own individual arcs. I'm not saying it's likely, but I would like to see that. And hopefully they finally step away from Code being a villain, because he is a terrible villain. That's actually what got me to not like Boruto as much while reading, because after Code joined the story, it just took a giant nosedive in quality, because Ishiki was such a good villain, and Momoshiki and all the other Otsutsukis were good villains, which is crazy because they were kind of the weaker parts of the Naruto series towards the end, and I thought they did a better job in Boruto writing them. But since Code stepped up, he's kind of just been a whiny baby, and it just turned into a teen drama. and I haven't really cared. And also, he's gotten his ass whooped like every single time on screen, so I couldn't take him seriously as a villain. And he was just really obnoxious. And I think that this tree thing might be a step in direction, because it seems like we're getting much more serious villains and villains that we could actually deem as a threat. Because with them possessing the Rinnegan as well as like divine tree powers, I'm wondering if this is going to be potential for Boruto to start getting access to some of the other tailed beast powers. And maybe we might see a return of the Nine-Tailed Fox, because I believe when the Nine-Tailed Fox dies, his chakra just reincarnates on the planet. It never dies officially. But all this stuff is definitely good fuel material for potential theories down the line, so look for those videos in the future. And as for Sasuke turning into a tree, I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I mean, he's been disrespected the entire series, so him turning into a tree kinda sucks, but I am interested to see where they'll take it. I just kinda wish we got to see what happened to him on screen, but maybe we will down the line. Doing this YouTube channel has inspired me to watch a lot more anime lately, and I have watched Tokyo Revengers, I've watched JJK, and Blue Lock, which I surprisingly liked a lot, because I don't like sports, but I love sports animes. They're just so ridiculous and so over the top, but they're so good. But if you guys ever want me to share my thoughts on those, let me know in the comments below, but I think right now I'm gonna still just focus on MHA and potentially also Boruto, because it comes out once a month. And I'm a one-man band for the most part, so I don't want to start like taking on too much new work. But anyway, that's all I got for now. Thank you guys so much for everyone that subscribed. I finally hit my goal of 100, which, as I said before, it's a small goal, but like for me it means a lot, because it's so crazy to even think that 100 people want to hear my voice every like week or whenever I put out my videos. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you stick around. I hope that one day this channel can grow to like the thousands or millions, like I said in my community post. But for right now, I'm just super appreciative to be here where I am. And I'm super appreciative to have you guys. But that's all I have for now. You stay safe, my ninjas. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace.